Yahuwah is the awesome one, and there is none like him. With him we win, he's our champion. With him we can lose, we always win. He's our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome one. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. We lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing halal, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. We lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing halal, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome one. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. We lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing halal, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome one. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome one. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. We lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing halal, hallelujah, We celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome one. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. You we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Yahuwah is the awesome one. There is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can lose. We always win. You're our champion. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance anymore. Testify, believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance anymore. Testify, believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance anymore. Clap my hands, believe I'll clap my hands while I have a chance. Believe I'll clap my hands while I have a chance. Believe I'll clap my hands while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll clap my hands while I have a chance. Believe I'll clap my hands. I'll clap my hands while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll sing my song while I have a chance. Believe I'll sing my song while I have a chance. Believe I'll sing my song while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance anymore. Sing my song, believe I'll sing my song while I have a chance. Believe I'll sing my song while I have a chance. Believe I'll sing my song while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance. And I may not have this chance. 'Cause 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 I may not have this chance anymore. Testify, believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify testify while I have a chance. 'Cause I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll do my dance while I have a chance. Believe I'll do my dance while I have a chance. Believe I'll do my dance while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll do my dance while I have a chance. Believe I'll do my dance while I have a chance. Believe I'll do my dance while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. Believe I'll have my neighbor while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll run on while I have a chance. Believe I'll run on while I have a chance. Believe I'll run on while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll run on while I have a chance. Believe I'll run on while I have a chance. Believe I'll run on while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. Believe I'll study the Torah while believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. Believe I'll study the Torah while I have a chance. I may not have this 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 chance. I may not Testify, believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. May not have this chance anymore. Testify, believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. Believe I'll testify while I have a chance. I may not have this chance anymore. Worthy, worthy, Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy, Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. I said he's worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. I say he's worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. I say he's worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. I say he's worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Worthy, worthy. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. I say worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. I say worthy of my praise. Worthy of my praise. Yahuwah is worthy of my praise. Let everything that has breath praise Yahuwah. 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 Let everything that has praise Yahuwah. Let everything that has praise Yahuwah. Let everything let everything that has praise Yahuwah. 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 Let everything that has praise Yahuwah.
So we do magnify the Yahweh. So if you're looking for a place to, I'll say a benefit to the work that's being done here at this congregation, all that we're doing on grid and off grid, then feel free to do so. If you desire to send your seed via snail mail, you can send it to P.O. Box 381, Columbia, South Carolina 29202. That's P.O. Box 381, Columbia, South Carolina 29202. For those of you that desire to use one of the online applications, if you have Cash App, you can DM us and send us information and we'll correspond accordingly. And for those that are currently present, if you desire to sow seed, we magnify the others. We prepare to sow seed into his kingdom because it is now time to sow seed in his kingdom because we're definitely looking forward to a harvest. God? And it is so. It is so. now time to sow seed into the kingdom. For those of you that are here that are present, as you have your seed ready, feel free to come and bring your seed unto the King. For those of you that are here remotely, we look forward to those DMs. And again, thank you in advance for all that you do. All that you're doing, all that you're yet going to do. We do magnify you for allowing us to have seed to sow and for you rooting us mightily in your kingdom. And we do magnify you for those even that are making preparation to sow seed into your kingdom. You said that if we're willing and obedient, that we shall eat. We do magnify you. We give you the highest praise in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, and it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Allow you, Lord. We do magnify the album. We welcome you back once again as we come into a time of sharing, going deeper into His Torah. As we come into this, our time of our higher heights and deeper depths of Torah study, we do magnify the album for you allowing us to come into your household or into your car, your workplace, wherever you are, wherever you're viewing us. We do magnify the album and we welcome you to come along with us as we take a journey through the Torah and see all that the Abba has in store for us and all that He is going to say unto us this evening. All I ask is simply that you open your hearts and you open your minds and your ruach, that you may receive all that the Abba has in store for us, because there is nothing but great in store when we walk in obedience to His Torah. This is how we walk as a people. And so we do magnify the Abba for all that He's done, all that He's doing, and all that He's yet going to do. Why do I say that? Simply because I have an expectation on the Abba. Do you have an expectation? So many times I've heard people say, I just want to live this life and just be happy and be thankful. But we have to have an expectation. People say, I just don't want anything. I just want to be happy. Okay, that's great. And that sounds deep and wonderful. But there are things that Abba said that when we walk in obedience to His Torah, that He will work our lives and we're to be fruitful, we're to be able to multiply, not only in children, but in our finances, in our minds, in our health, in our ruah, in the study of the Torah, going truly higher and reaching the deeper depths that we can reach in and through Him. And so we can magnify God because there's so much that He wants to share with us and so much that He is going to share with us in this time as we prepare to delve deep into His Word. Because the Abba is, one thing about the Abba, there's many people that say He said this and He said that. But when you look in His Torah, He's already said everything He needs to say that He wants to say. Does that mean He doesn't speak to His people? Of course He does. Of course He does. Even He lets us know that in these times, the Abba said that He'll not reveal anything or withhold anything from His people, but He reveals it unto His prophets, His sent ones, His emissaries, those that He has called forth to bring forth His word, His morals, and mores that they come and bring forth the in our lives. So we do magnify him and we truly give the Torah Rabbah for all that he's done, for all that he is doing, and all that he's yet going to do. And we need to develop not just simply a seat for him, but an expectation of him to do mighty things in and through us, especially in our Lord. Because if we're coming at a time now to where we as a people in many places are scattered, many are divided, but as we know that it's promised that he's going to call us all home, and before we go home, we need to walk in a car with one another. And how are we going to walk in a car in the kingdom if we can't do it here in this land? I guess granted, we're in the land of our enemies, or the hand of life, and to be able to share in this time, to fellowship, and even with the awesome things that God has done, by allowing us to have access to the technology, we're able to reach the world all across the world. And so we do magnify God again for each and every one of you. We say welcome, welcome, welcome to each and every one of you. So sit back, relax, don't get too relaxed, but prepare your hearts, your minds, and your ruach to feast on this evening, because our Lord is going to bring. It's going to be truly enriching to our hearts, and there's so much that God has to say to us. But the scripture even lets us know, "Him that hath an ear, let him hear what the ruach is saying unto the congregation." So without further ado, it gives me extreme pleasure and to bring to your forefront one who is a true preacher, and teacher of this Torah, none other than our very own senior pastor of Messengers of the Lord's Kingdom, the Great Belief Congregation, our very own apostle, city prophetess, and our Lord, Aliyah Yasharah. Put your hands together as she comes to break. Lechem, Allah.
Praise him, praise him. No worthy, no worthy. No worthy. You're so worthy. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. You're so worthy. You're so worthy, worthy, worthy. You're worthy. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. You're worthy. Focus up morning. Started us on our way. Gave life. And that more abundantly. Purchased by the blood of His Son. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful is your name. Wonderful is your name. Woke us up this morning. Started on our way. Gave life. Started me on my way. Day night, and that more abundantly. Work by the blood of His Son. We are wonderful. We are wonderful. Wonderful in the name. 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 Wonderful Counselor. Mighty Yahweh. My King. You're wonderful. Wonderful in the name. Wonderful in the name. Wonderful in the name. Wonderful in the name. Oh, how wonderful. Oh, how wonderful. Wonderful to me. You're wonderful to me. Wonderful in the name. Wonderful in the name. Wonderful in His name. Wonderful in His name. Praise Him. Worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. Come on, praise Him, praise Him, praise Him. Come on, He's worthy, He's worthy, He's worthy. Come on, He's worthy, He's worthy. Come on, you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. Come on, He's worthy, He's worthy, He's worthy. Yes, you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. Come on, you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. Come on, He's worthy, He's worthy, He's worthy. Come on, He's worthy, He's worthy, He's worthy. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. So we appreciate it. stand to praise him. We stand to give him our all. We lift our hands to show you. We surrender our all to you. Abba Yahuwah, we ask that you have your way in this our time. We ask that you would. We ask Yahuwah that we would leave differently than we entered into this place. We ask for an exchange, Abba Yahuwah, of energy and strength. We ask Abba Yahuwah that you forgive us of any and all sin. Father, there be nothing negative between us and thee, and between us and our fellow man. We ask Abba Yahuwah that you will rule us, endow us with your power from on high. We ask Abba Yahuwah to strengthen those that need to be strengthened, to lift the bowed down head, to encourage Abba Yahuwah the feeble handed and the feeble knee. We ask Abba Yahuwah that you would lift and heal every broken heart. We ask that you would have your way on this Layla. In the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And it is so. And it is so. Come on, put your hands It's worthy. He's worthy. Yes, he is, of all praise, of all esteem. And we do esteem him this morning. Just worship him. Come on, worship him from your heart. Worship him. Let him know how much he means to you. Let him know how much he means to you. You mean everything to me, Abba. You're my everything. You're my everything. Allah Yahuwah. You're my everything. My everything. You're my everything. 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 My everything. Come on, let it go. You're my everything. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. You're worthy. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. You're worthy. Come on, we take this time to let you know how worthy you are. We take this time to let you know how we appreciate you. We take this time to let you know how much we are happy. We adore you, we adore you, we adore you. Philip, we appreciate you. We appreciate you, we appreciate you, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, we appreciate you. We do appreciate you. You know, it's been a moment for some of you. And a customer would drop in every now and then, visit with us during our weekly classes, and it seemed like we were missing in action. But for a moment, we were on the land, then tending to some things. But I told Abba Yahuwah for hearing his voice through his messengers. And so we're here to give and to speak and do all that he's given unto us. It is important that we build a foundation and stay and stand in and upon that foundation. Times will get hard and things will get rough. But through it all, he's been with us and he'll never leave us, neither will he forsake us. He promised he will be with us until the end of the ages. And so we have these promises that he's given unto us. And we're going to cash in those promises by staying in position and all that he's told us to do. Once again, I encourage you to keep your head up and stick and stay. And be with us in this our time of class. Once again, we work the Abba for all that he's doing, all that he's done, and all that he's yet going to do. Here with us at the congregation of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom, Great Belief Congregation in South Carolina.
There's a song on my heart that I want to sing. So I asked that you all help me. It's a song, and it's an old song. It's not a congregation, but it is one that I believe that would encourage us, because it has encouraged me over the time. Excuse me, my voice is not what I would want it to be. But I just want to sing a little bit of it, just a tad bit of it. Pray with me. It's crazy, but you get nervous, you do things, and then you stand up and you start feeling a little nervous and so forth. But it is something. I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days and some sleepless nights. But when I look around and I think things over, all of my great days outweigh my, and I won't complain. Sometimes the clouds hang low. I can hardly see the road. I ask the question, why so much pain? But he knows what's best for me. Although my weary eyes sometimes can't see, but I'll say thank you, Yahuwah, and I won't complain. Our great days outweigh our bad days. There are greater days ahead. In spite of all that we are hearing, and in spite of all that we know that's going on, great or young are heavens. If we hold on and don't let go, if we continue to fight the great fight of belief, we will continue to hold on to the victory. I won't complain. It's easy to complain, but it's easier to stand and know that He's going to bring us through every storm and every heartache and every pain. Because He is committed unto us, His people, and we must identify that. Regardless of how it may look, no matter how it may feel, we have to remember He's with us through it all. I won't complain. And it is so.
And it is so.
I won't complain. He's worthy of all praise. He's worthy of all praise. You're worthy of all praise and all esteem. All esteem. That was on my heart. At this time, we're going to turn our attention to the Baruch of the Torah, and then we're going to have the reading of the 10 Commandments, and it is so. All right, repeat with me. Baruch Yahuwah.
Baruch Yahuwah.
The Baruch one.
The Baruch one.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
The Baruch one.
The Baruch one.
For all eternity.
For all eternity.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Our supreme one.
Our supreme.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who selected us from all the peoples.
Who selected us from all the peoples.
And gave us his Torah.
And gave us his Torah.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Giver of the Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Our supreme one.
Our supreme.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
And implanted eternal life within us.
And implanted eternal life within us.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Giver of the Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Now we have the reading of the 10 Commandments done by Matthias. And it is so.
Leviticus 5:6-22. Aleph. I am Yahuwah, your power, which brought you out of the land of Israel from the night of slavery. Faith, you shall have no other power before me. You shall not make you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in Shemayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the mind beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the Abbas upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that have me and keep my commandments. Gimel. You shall not take the name of Yahuwah, your power, and falsify it, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name and empties it. Dalet. Guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahuwah your power has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah your power. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your foreigner that is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a servant in the land of Israel, and that Yahuwah your power brought you out of there through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahuwah your power commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Hey, esteem your honor, your image, Yahuwah your power has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged and that it may go well with you in the land which Yahuwah your power is about to give you. One, you shall not murder. Saying, neither shall you adultery. Yet, neither shall you steal. Tet, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. You, neither shall you desire your neighbor's issue, neither shall you cover your neighbor's bait, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. These words you will spoken to all your assembly in the mount, out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone and delivered them unto me. And it is so.
And it is so. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 1 through 18, and it reads, these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuwah your power commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you are going to enter and possess it, that you might fear Yahuwah your power to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the young men of your life, and that your young men may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Yashral, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as Yahuwah, power of your Abbas has promised you in the land that flows with milk and honey. Shema Yashral. Hear, O Yashral, Yahuwah our supreme one, Yahuwah is the God. And you shall have Yahuwah your supreme one with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this yom shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto you, of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your bed and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahuwah your power shall have brought you into the land which you swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Yaakov, to give you great cities which you did not build, houses full of all great things which you filled not, and wells dug which you did not dig, and vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. When you shall have eaten and be full, then beware lest you forget Yahuwah, which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim from the bed of slavery. You shall fear Yahuwah your power and serve him and shall swear by his name. You should not go after the power of the people which are round about you. For Yahuwah your power is a jealous power among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah your power be kindled against you and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your power as you tempted him in Massa. You shall diligently keep the commandments. You shall diligently keep, the commandments of Yahuwah your power and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right in the sight of Abba Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the great land which Abba Yahuwah swore to your fathers. And it is so. And it is so. Let us turn our attention to Yahush, the son of Nun, chapter 1. Starting at verse 6, 7, and we're going to recite verse 8. When you have it said, it is so, and it is so. All right, starting at verse 6. Be strong and of a great courage, for to this people shall you divide for an inheritance the land which I swore to their Abbas to give them. Only be you strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the Torah which Moshe, my servant, commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Verse 8, as I've tuned it to fit our time of confession, let us say this together. I will not let this scroll of the Torah,
I will not let the scroll of the Torah
depart out of my mouth,
depart out of my mouth,
but I shall meditate therein,
but I shall meditate therein,
Yom and Layla,
Yom and Layla,
that I may observe to do,
that I may observe to do,
according to all that is written in it.
according to all that is written in it.
For then I shall make my way prosperous,
For then I shall make my way prosperous,
and then I shall act wisely.
and then I shall act
Now
wisely.
look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, and you shall act wisely. Look at your other neighbor, tell your other neighbor, you shall act wisely, and you shall act wisely. Now take your hand and place it over your heart and say, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act
Come
wisely.
on, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act
Come
wisely.
on, I am determined
I am determined
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
I am determined
I am determined
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
Come on, I am determined
I am determined
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
And it is so,
And it is so.
and it is so very important that we act wisely in this our time. Now let us turn our attention to Yahukanan chapter 5. And we're going to read verses 1 through 15. Very important that no matter what is going on, that we constantly establish this principle and this testimony of Yahush al-Mashiach, the son of Abba Yahuwah, in our hearts, in our atmosphere, and in the lives of those that are near us, whoever comes to be near us. It is important that we establish this and keep it established in our lives, because there are those that oppose this very belief and oppose the very person of the Mashiach, which is Yahush the Mashiach, our Redeemer, the son of Abba Yahuwah. So it's important that we keep a mindset that this is to stay fresh within our hearts at all times. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
At all times. Beginning at verse 1, and it reads, everyone who believes that Yahush is the Mashiach has been born of Yahuwah. And everyone who ahabs the one bringing forth also ahabs the one having been born of him. By this we know that we ahab the children of Yahuwah when we ahab Yahuwah and guard his commands. For this is the ahab for Yahuwah, that we guard his commands, and his commands are not difficult, because everyone having been begotten of Yahuwah overcomes the world. And this is the overcoming that has overcome the world, our belief. Our belief in who? In the Mashiach, Yahush. Who is the one who overcomes the world but he who believes that Yahush is the son of Yahuwah? This is the one that came by water and blood, Yahush Mashiach. Not only by water, but by water and blood. And it is the Ruach who bears witness, because the Ruach is the truth. Because there are three who bear witness, the Ruach, the water, and the blood. And the three are in agreement. This is very important to understand, because the information that was put out during that time was basically saying that the Mashiach was not real, that he was a malach and that he was not human. And so therefore that disqualified him for doing and being the son of the Yahweh. So it's important that we understand that. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Yahuwah is greater. Somebody say greater.
Greater.
Because this is the witness of Yahuwah, which he has witnessed concerning his son. The one who believes in the son of Yahuwah has the witness in himself. The one who does not believe Yahuwah has made him a liar, because he has not believed the witness that Yahuwah has given concerning his son. And this is the witness that Yahuwah has given us eternal life. And this is the life, and this life is in his son. He who possesses the son possesses life. He who does not possess the son of Yahuwah does not possess life. I have written this to you who believe in the name of the Son of Yahuwah, so that you know that you possess everlasting life. And so that you believe in the name of the Son of Yahuwah. And this is the boldness that we have in him, that if we ask whatever according to his desire, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we have asked of him. And it is so. It's very important that we understand this principle and understand these things that the Yahweh has promised us, because we believe in his son, Yahush, our Mashiach. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, now at this time, we're going to do our affirmation, then our declaration, and then we're going to close this portion, the first portion of our class out. That's right, we have part 1, part 2. We do part 1, praise, worship, and then we go into part 2, to where I bring forth the teaching of the writings. It's your appetizer, your meal, your drink, all of it. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, repeat with me. I purpose to develop my ruach.
I purpose to develop my ruach.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I am born again.
I am born again.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I have the life and nature
I have the life and nature
of Yahuwah in my ruach.
of Yahuwah in my ruach.
That life is the Torah
That life is the Torah
of Yasharal.
of Yahshua.
I purpose to walk
I purpose to walk
in the Torah of life.
in the Torah of life.
Yahuwah's Torah,
Yahuwah's Torah,
Yahush,
Yahush,
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's knowledge
Yahuwah's knowledge
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's ahab
Yahuwah's ahab
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's power
Yahuwah's power
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's wisdom
Yahuwah's wisdom
is in me.
is in me.
He is teaching me.
He is teaching.
He is leading me.
He is leading.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
The Ruach
The Ruach
HaKodesh
HaKodesh
of Yahuwah in me
of Yahuwah in me
is leading me.
is leading.
I'll follow her leading.
I'll follow her lead.
I'll walk in the Torah.
I'll walk in the Torah.
Yahush,
Yahush,
our Mashiach.
our Mashiach,
And it is so.
and it is so.
All right. Repeat with me. Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
in the name of Yahush,
in the name of Yahush,
our Mashiach,
our Mashiach,
we subdue ignorance
we subdue ignorance
with Torah knowledge.
with Torah.
And through this knowledge
And through this knowledge
of Torah truth,
of Torah truth,
we claim healing,
we claim healing,
shalom,
shalom,
deliverance,
deliverance,
and salvation.
and salvation.
We decree
We decree
Torah truth
Torah truth
in the lives
in the lives
of your people,
of your people,
our people, Yasharal.
Yahshua.
We unite,
We unite,
not to fight,
not to fight,
not to fight
not to fight
each other,
each other,
each other,
each other,
each other,
each other,
but the enemy
but the enemy
of our belief.
of our belief.
And it is so.
And it is so.
We're going to stand at this time and bow before our King to recite our writings, and this will be coming from Tehillim, Psalms 19 and 14, as we bow before our King. Let us repeat this. May the utterance of my mouth
And the utterance of my mouth,
and the deliberation of my heart
and the liberation of my heart,
be desirable before you.
Be desirable before you.
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation
and the deliberation
of my heart
of my heart
be desirable
be desirable
before you.
before you.
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Come on, put your hands together. You may be seated in His presence. We do appreciate the Abba once again for giving us this opportunity to be with you at this time. It is always a pleasure and it is always a great esteem to be before the royalty of Yasharal, meaning that Yasharal is royalty. We are royalty. And I know at times, if you be honest with yourself and truthful, you don't always feel that way. Hello. But we are. It's not about a feeling, it is about a knowing.
That's right.
And so I appreciate the Abba for all that he's doing and all that he's done. On to Layla, we're going to talk about, and it's probably going to turn into a series depending on which way the Abba, through his Ruach would have us to go. We're going to talk about the importance of understanding who we are. Understanding our position as the Ibram people, as the Ibram nation, as a predestined people. We were predestinated. We didn't just come up or pop up. This is our predestination. This is our calling to be where we are and to be whose we are. And once again, I've come to understand that trials are going to come and tribulations are going to come and heartache is going to come and pain is going to come. But nevertheless, always remember that this is the lifestyle that the Abba wants us to have. Heartache and pain? Absolutely not. But it's a part of life. And so with that being said, it's important that we remember who we are. So you have to understand the enemy comes to do what? Steal, kill, and what? To destroy. What does he want to destroy? He wants to destroy our belief. One, in who we are and in our belief system. But if he could ever begin to cause you to doubt yourself, doubt that this choice you've made to walk in truth is wrong, then he's got you right where he wants you. Because the moment you start contemplating, did I make the right decision to walk in this walk and to come into this way of life? He's got you, because then you will begin to be on a quest to see if what you're doing is right. Now, I'm not against research, because we're supposed to research, but make sure your research is based upon that what is important. And that's to build your belief in the lifestyle, not to take it away from it. That's important. On the other I was sitting in my office, and as I was sitting in there, the Abba will encourage my heart through Yahush to write poetry. That's one of the things that I enjoy doing, is writing poetry, writing short stories, and writing. I just enjoy doing that. And I enjoy watching movies. And so as I was sitting there, I wrote this, and I say this is for all of those who are hurting. And so I want to share it with you. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to have next when I do it, I want to have music to it. Because understand, your life is not over. Our lives are not over because we may hit a bump in the road, or a bump in the road might jump up and seem like it hit us. We're not, it's not over. It is still, we are still in this race, and we are still functional, and we're still able to move forward. So it's important that we understand that. I know at times, once again, it kind of feels, at times, rough and very challenging, and to some hard. But we must understand the Abba never makes mistakes, and we are, as a people, we're not a mistake. Neither are we a haphazard, or we are just something that just happened to be. You have to understand, once again, we were predestined to be his people. We were already called to be his people. And so with that being said, we're going to get in there, but I want to read this to you, this poem to you. that was dear to my heart. And it goes, in the bowels of the deep, I searched for some relief, trying to ease my pain and hide my shame. The shame that I had lost in this game. I tried to find some relief in the bowels of the deep, searching for gold, even if it was only the dust. See, because in this game called life, every decision and every choice has to be made with precise precision. In the bowels of the deep, I tried searching for some relief, trying to ease my pain and hide my shame. All this loss, but with every tear I cried, I began to rise above the deep because I had lost my speech. I had almost forgot what it felt like to be a winner, in the bowels of the deep, searching for some relief, trying to ease my pain and hide my shame. O Abba Yahuwah, with your strength I have life, I have courage. I am more than a conqueror, for you have given me eyes to see your magnificent light. So no longer am I in the bowels of the deep, searching for some relief, to try and ease my pain and hide my shame. For it is in your instructions for my once weary life that I have found some relief for my life. Just a little something to encourage your hearts, because I know there are some of us that have experienced some major things in our lives, and we find ourselves searching because we're really trying to find some relief. And so it is in the Abba that we will, or that is the only way we will really find relief for our lives, and is the only place in His instruction that we will even find worth is in His instruction. So just wanted to encourage you with that, and with the song "Don't Complain," no matter where you find yourself in this walk, don't complain. Remember who you are and remember whose you are. And this is a key thing that keeps us from complaining and finding ourselves sometimes all been out of shape. This keeps us from being in that place because we remember who we are. We remember that this is just for a moment. For this light affliction is just but for a moment. And we can continue to move on. I want to read this to you and just kind of bring us up to a date once again about what we're talking about predestination. Many times for those that are just coming in and been in this walk for a moment, there are times that we do need to be reminded of our stand and be reminded once again who we are and whose we are. Mm-hmm. Because we know that many of things are trying to hijack who we are. You see in movies and you see it every day that our way of life and that we being the chosen people is always trying to be hijacked. I was watching some movies the other dominated cast. Well, even in those you find that we are being hijacked and our movies are not really centered really around us as a people. And so it is important that we understand once again and be reminded who we are and whose we are, and not let movies determine that or deter us from that. You know, once again, we are movie connoisseurs, and I enjoy watching different styles of movies, but I watch them because there's always something you can learn from certain movies. And that was one of the things that really got me to thinking about our identity and really thinking about who we are and what is it going to take for us as a people to get there. And watch this, stay there. Maintaining that consistency, maintaining that momentum to where we don't get either discouraged or over inundated with a lot of information that now we get so full that now we don't know what to do with the information because there's so much of it. And this is important for us as a how He's going to get it to us. And so once again, I want to show you one of the things to help us to understand our way of life and to understand that we are predestinated or as a people is the information that we get. Now, I said it in the very beginning some years ago, and so I'm going to do a refresher on it. We've come to understand that if you are going to learn about who you are, you cannot go back into Christianity. You cannot go back and read the same commentaries that you once read. Why? Because these commentaries are not going to support your belief, my belief. and not just a belief that we just grabbed out of the air, but what the writings support. That's why we believe it, because we got it from the writings. But if you're looking for something to help to substantiate that and to continually build on that, you cannot use information that has been laced and continue to be laced with Christianity theory and thought, because it will wreck your belief. Now, many of us know who Calvin is, because he was supposed to be a reformer. He's supposed to be one that he is one. If you're in Christianity, you can't help but know about him because everybody uses his commentaries. Everybody uses basically his work. And so he is one that is well known. But it's important that we understand his view when it comes to us as a people and to Christianity. You have to understand the theory is that Christianity has taken the place of Yahshua. This is what we call replacement theology, Torah. Replacement theology, to where, excuse me, Christianity has us as the true Hebrews. That this system and this way of life has replaced the original way of life. And with that being said, that means that it also replaced the people, which we know is a blatant lie. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
It is a lie. But Calvin account or exegesis of the account of the first covenant, and his view of the Ibram, which we know many times you read, is going to say Jew. And whenever you see that, you have to understand that is basically giving an outline, or supposed to, of who we are. And because they are part of the, switcheroo and wanting to upseat us and remove us from our rightful place, you're going to see this in writings, and you're going to see it whenever in commentaries, and whenever people are talking, they'll always say, oh, you're Jewish. No, I am not Jewish. I am Ibram. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
I am Ibram. And so it is important that we understand they get these theories and these ideas from commentaries, from books that people have written. And so this supports their view. And if you understand who you are, then you cannot use this type of information, because it is not going to support your belief. It will actually have you looking sideways even at your own self because of their views. Are you following me? Yes. Now, and once again, you have to understand it is through these commentaries that Christianity has basically taken the forefront and has replaced us as a people. Now, that's not what the Abba has put in place. This is what they put in place. So you have to understand, this is what it has taken place. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Now, understanding that and understanding his views, and once again, he assumed that believing, now watch this, in Christianity, or believing in Christ, and members of the church believe this, that this is how you become or you get the Baruch of the Abba, which we know is not true. So you have to understand they came in, rewrote the script, and then turned around and said, now, in order for you to be a part of this, you got to accept what we're giving you. Well, we're not going to accept that because we know that's not the truth. Are you hearing me? According to Debitum, chapter 6, verse 7 and 6, he says that you are my treasured people. Talking to who? Yahshua. So you have to understand, if we don't stick with the writings, and we don't really believe that what is being said to us, because we're having a struggle, because we're reading commentaries that have been certified and even passed along as being relevant information to support not our way of life, but the way of Christianity, and all those that oppose us as being the chosen people. You can't use that information, because if you use it, it's going to either confuse you, or it's going to basically cause you to get out of there, and then you start saying, well, we can't be that people, because there's nothing to support it, which is a lie. It's just getting the right information. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
This is why it's important that we just don't go grabbing stuff, snatch and grab. Because when you're snatching and grabbing, you don't know what you're grabbing. And if you do grab it and you begin to ingest these things, and now you're believing that, oh, okay, well, that's what that means. This what that means. It's so much information that has been basically thrown into our way of life, placed in the mainstream of our information, that if you don't know how to go in and screen that information, you'll be reading stuff and believing it, and you'll either come out a Buddhist, Kemet, Islam, Christian, or nothing at all. For your phone.
Yes.
Because of all of the stuff that has been put in there. And so what I want to bring to your attention is, once again, we as a people, regardless of how society may want to project us, how they may want to present us, we are that people that have been predestinated to be his chosen people. And it didn't stop with our ancestors, though they messed up royally. He has a covenant with us. And so it is important that we understand that. But now, as we look at the house of Yehuda and the house of Yasharal, we look and we come to understand that we are that people. We are the part of the 12 tribes. Now they have this thing where, you know, the 12 tribes chart. I don't follow charts, period. I don't follow charts, because if you follow them charts, once again, they will have you believing that you are Hamite and not Yasharalites. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
They'll have you believing that the quote unquote mixed breed of the Mexicans, the light-skinned ones, are Issachar. They will have you believing that these are the people, and basically, once again, you will be thrust out and you will be put somewhere on the back burner. So it's important that we understand, once again, how to get our information and what information to stay away from. It may be remedial for some, and then it may be brand new for the rest of you. If it is, take it, learn, basically renew yourself in it, and basically, once again, do not get information that's going to cause you to stray. And understand, everything that may have melanin on it or melanated face does not make it legitimate and does not make it a good or a great resource to be in your library.
Yeah.
I was reading this book, and I forgot what the name of the book is, but it's crazy. And I'm reading it and I'm saying to myself, this man here, and his name was something Williams, he just basically destroyed every system. Now, we know we are not a religious system. This is our way of life, but he even was able to manipulate and put that in there and say, well, because, you know, people have come in and said it's their culture. And if anybody gets you to basically start doing things and changing your lifestyle, of that, this is a way that they manipulate you and control you. Now, you have to understand, when we come in the truth, the first thing that we do is we begin to do what? Keep the Sabbath and keep the feast. So to many of them, this is manipulation. You're manipulating people, because many believe that you were born basically spiritual. And it's other people that come in and basically destroy your spiritual way with their religion. Now, you have to understand, to many people, that may sound right, but that's wrong. We know that people can come in and manipulate with words and with information your way of life if you are unlearned, if you are a babe in this, and you are still learning. Yes, people can come in and manipulate you if you don't understand. But this is important. And let me tell you something, even those of us that are learned, we can still be manipulated if we are not careful. Because, see, you have to be careful. Even the writings tell us, take heed how you stand, lest ye fall. So it's important that we understand how we are standing and the information that we get. Now, you have to understand, the house of Yehuda, also known as the southern kingdom, or just Yehuda, was the dominant tribe. Benjamin was the other tribe. Now, it's important that we understand this on to Yom. The house of Yasharal, also known as the northern kingdom, the lost sheep of the prostituting 10 tribes, Joseph or Ephraim, which was the dominant tribe amongst the 10 tribes. Yahoo says specifically that he came only for the lost or the prostituting sheep of Yasharal, according to Matthew Yahoo 15 and 24. This is important for us. Why is it important for us to establish this and hold on to it with our dear lives? Because so many times we get that mentality that we are supposed to invite everybody in. This is a VIP party. So stop trying to bring other cultures and other nationalities into this when they are not a part of it. This is important that we do not do this, because you have to understand, if you pick up a criminal or somebody that is a hijacker, they're not going to let you stay in that vehicle, even though it's yours. They're going to throw you out. They're not going to put you on the passenger side. They're going to throw you out. Why? Because they are criminals. Now, you have to understand, all these years that have gone by, they were not the ones that told us we were the chosen people. It is the timing of the Abba that he has allowed us to come into this knowledge to know who we are. They have kept it hidden from us for centuries, generations. And now all of a sudden, they want to find a way, an inroad. Well, don't open the door for them. They've always had an inroad. It's time for us to stand up and say, no, this is not yours. This belongs to us as a people, and begin to walk in that and stand in it. Why? Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself, once again, being in a position, and people are those that know well and know how to do this. They will turn right around and make you believe that you ain't the people, but they are people.
Right.
So this is important for us to understand. I know it may sound tight, and it may sound, like I'm being racist, but I can't be racist. But this is about standing up for what is right and standing up for what is ours. If you were not, if it wasn't taken from you, you can't be restored back to it. And that's the question once again. How do you know who qualifies? Those that qualify for this are the ones who it was taken from. It was taken from us. It wasn't taken from them. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
It's very important that we understand that. Why should we understand this? Because the more that you are able to understand this and grasp this, the more you will be able to understand and identify with, you are predestined to be in the position you're in as a believer. You don't stop there. You have to continue moving, growing, and developing. Are you following me?
Yes.
That's so important for us to understand. Now, there is another term that we are going to look at on to Layla, and that term is dogs. Remember in Yahoo chapter 15, when Yahoo spoke to the woman, the Canaanite woman, and he told us not meat to give the bread, good bread to the dogs?
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand that word dog, which when we were in Christianity, we thought it meant a female dog, and the term I won't use over the internet, but it is a term that we know that is a vulgar term, and we always meant that that's what he was calling her. No, and in actuality, he was calling her a person who was out of covenant. She was not covenant, and because she was not covenant, this was the language that he used concerning her, because she was not a part of the covenant. But when she began to talk to him in the manner that she did, she said, even the dogs have to catch the crumbs that fall from the master's table. So she understood, in order to get this, what I'm asking you, I've got to be able to understand the terms. I've got to be able to understand that you're not talking to me, and understand there's a many that say, well, she was Greek. Many said she was this, but I am inclined to believe that she was a part of Yahshua. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Why would you say that? The reason I say that, because he just told her he was only sent to who? The lost sheep of the lost sheep of Yahshua. Now, with that being said, he is not going to contradict himself. You have to understand, until you were made known, and I was made known that I was a lost sheep, we thought we were fine and dandy. Until we accepted Torah for our lives, and as the principle and the foundation, we just, went on with life as usual. We just felt like, well, we could get this. And when she began to talk with him and to show him that she understood what he was talking about, that he was willing to give her what she asked of him. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
It's important that we understand that. Now, once again, let's look at this. This is also referring to the ones willfully opposing the Torah. Yahuwah's instructions, they are called Kuan in the renewed covenant. They are the false prophets teaching against the Torah, the lawless ones as the scripture has it. Those out of the Torah covenant are called dogs in scripture. You can see that also in Revelation 22 and 15. Deuteronomy 23 and 18. Let's grab those real quick. Once again, that's Revelations 22 and 15. We haven't said it is so. All right. Let's read that.
Revelation chapter 22, verse 15, and it reads, "But outside are the dogs, and those who enchant with drugs, and those who whore, and the murderers, and the idolaters, and all who love and do falsehood."
All right, read that again. Read it loud as you can.
But outside are the dogs, and those who enchant with drugs, and those who whore, and the murderers, and the idolaters, and all who love and do falsehood.
Now, if you're not walking in Torah truth and you are opposing it, then you are a dog.
That's right.
You are a dog because you're outside of what? Covenant. You're outside of covenant. This is why it is important that when we come into this walk, that we agree with it and we accept it. Because if you just come in and you're just talking it, you're going to be looked at like a dog. You know something about dogs? You can feed dogs and you can do certain things with dogs. But until dogs have made up their mind that they're going to be committed to you, they'll bite you when you try to feed them. But when a dog truly is committed and has changed, now understand this may sound crazy, but is willing to submit to the order and submit to you as their master, then you got a dog for life. Are you following me?
Yeah.
That's the characteristics. Dogs, if they don't understand authority and are not committed, they'll be all over the place. They won't listen. They're hard-headed and everything else. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's look at the Deuteronomy 23 and 18. All right, let's read that, please.
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 18. You shall not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of Yahuwah, your power, for any vow. For even both these are abomination unto Yahuwah, your power. And it is so.
And it is so. Now, someone may ask the question, well, what does that mean? Well, you got to understand the problem with this is, and this is what Christianity runs into it, and I pray as the chosen people, we don't follow behind that. You cannot accept gifts and money from anybody and think you're going to offer it into the temple because it's unacceptable unto the Abba.
Right.
So that means that people that are not in covenant and walking upright, you can accept gifts from them and try to offer them in the temple. You can't bring it because it is not acceptable. Now, it may line your pockets, but what is it going to take from you? Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
I don't need just any kind of money. I don't want just any kind of money. Are y'all following me? Because you have to offer that money. You don't just take the money, we offer it to the Abba. So now you're trying to offer money that is not acceptable. This is why he is giving us an outline of everything that we do. In Christianity, I've heard pastors say, well, I'll take that drug money, I'll pray over it. But you have to understand that's blood money.
Right.
Drug money is blood money. And I'm not talking about you going to the store and somebody giving you change. I don't know where that money's been, and neither do you, but they're going to give me my change.
Right.
But we're talking about people that you know are bona fide drug dealers, prostitutes. And they say, well, hey, put this in the offering for me. I need you to give this to, the big guy upstairs. I need you to give this to, to the power. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
These are gifts and offerings that cannot be accepted and placed on the altar and offered up to the Abba. That's why you better be careful of who wants to give you a gift. Because you can't offer those things up to the Abba. This is what the writing says. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, now let's look at Yashaya 56, 10 and 11. We'll look at these.
And it is so.
All right, we're looking at 10 and 11.
Yeshayahu chapter 56, verses 10 and 11, coming from the NIV writings. Yasharal's watchmen are blind. They all lack knowledge, but they are all mute dogs that cannot bark. They lie around and dream. They love to sleep. They are dogs with mighty appetites. They never have enough. They are shepherds who lack understanding. They all turn to their own way, and each seeks his own game. And it is so.
And it is so. So that's not a really nice description, is it? So we don't want to be that. Once again, look at what he said they are. Read that for me again. Chapter 56, verses 10 and 11.
Joshua's watchmen are blind. They all lack knowledge. They are all mute dogs that cannot bark. They lie around and dream because they love to sleep. They are dogs with mighty appetites. They never have enough. They are shepherds who lack understanding. They all turn to their own way, each seeking his own gain. And it is so.
And it is so. Now that's some strong words. That's strong. And see, people don't want to hear that because then they start thinking, wait, what is being said here? Once again, let's look at what's being said. Give me a few minutes to get there on my computer. And we're going to look at this again. 56 verses 10 and 11. I didn't say it. I'm just a messenger. But let's look at what's being said here. This is time to really do an examination of our lives. Why? Because time is too short. And if we're going to truly be the example, then we need to be the example all the way, not part of the way. His watchmen are blind. And a person that's blind, they can't what?
See.
They can't see. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. A dog that cannot bark is what?
Useless.
Say it again.
Useless.
Useless. Worthless. Because they can't bark. Dogs bark because a lot of times they are letting you know danger's around. They're hungry. They want some attention. Are you hearing me? But at least they letting you know what's going on. A dog just sitting up there looking at you. You don't know what to think. But he said they're useless. Sleeping, lying down. Watch this. Loving to slumber. Now, slumber, sleep, but also slumber means to be in a place to where you are not coherent. You know, people that are intoxicated, you know, they are not sober. He said, and you have to understand, a lot of times when a person that's drunk is not always drunk, you can be over-inundated in yourself. You could be drunken with the cares of this life. You could be drunken with sorrow, greed, anger. You can really be drunken with a lot of things. And so it will put you in a place of slumber. In other words, you don't have it. The get up and go is not there. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Yes, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. Now, once again, he's making reference to them, but he's calling them out of covenant. So if you're out of covenant, this is what your description is. And then he says, behaving like, watch this, Gentiles. Now somebody say, well, behaving like other nations, absolutely. Because you have to understand that word Gentile also represents us as a people, but then it also represents those of other nations. We act like them, but we say we're not them. Our mindset, we handle things just like they handle things. That's not the way it's supposed to be. They all look to their own way. They all look to their what? Own way. My way is better than your way. My way is more proficient than your way. Well, my way is more economical. Well, my way is better because I have more people. My way is better because I have a better audience than you do. So now you get into this, who can urinate the farthest. And you got women in there too. But the bottom line is, listen to what he's saying. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarter. Now, it's important that we understand, if we have that attitude, we will never be able to show the world who we are. I know it's not popular. It's not meant to be, but it is meant to sting us to where we wake up and say, oh, wait a minute, I got to do better. I got to do better. I can't get in this place, of complacency. I can't get in this place of a rut. I can't get in this place to where now the enemy can devour me and destroy me, because I'm just barely doing enough to make it. We can't do just enough to make it. You got to do more than enough to make it. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Now, this is the state of the Christian church. Many greedy pastors running after their own gain and not caring for the things of Abba Yahuwah. Now, you have to understand, it's not just the pastors, it's also elders, mores, greedy. You got enough, but that's not enough. You want more, because the more you have, it puts you in a better position. Understand, the more knowledge we have of Abba Yahuwah and our relationship with him puts us always in a better position with him. Because being in a better position with people don't mean nothing, because people will change on you just like the weather.
That's right.
Unpredictable. Are y'all following me? Yes. So we don't want to be labeled as that. And this is once again giving us an example of those that are not in Torah. Now, he called her an out of covenant Gentile until she acknowledged, I understand Torah and I am a Torah believer. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
It's also with us acknowledging he is the Torah made flesh. So if you reject him, you're rejecting the Abba. So that's important for us to understand, very important for us to understand. Now, once again, by her making the statement that even the crumbs, studying of the teachings of the bread of the Torah, in other words, she was saying, look, what they don't want, I'll take it. What people look at is remedial. What people look at is beneath them. Oh, I don't need that. I already know how to do that. For those that are hungry, this is nothing but a refresher course. It's nothing but to help us to maintain, because let me tell you something. You can get blindsided if you're not careful. Yes, you can. You have to understand, we ain't the first. You won't be the first. I'm not the first that's gotten into a position where you start looking and say, oh my, what happened? I was running well and looked like I kind of slacked up a little bit. I kind of stopped. Now, understand, when I say slack up, I'm not saying not keeping the writings. I'm saying when you get to a point where you know what you were doing in the beginning, you don't do like you used to. Because you start getting to that place where you say, well, they've had enough. They don't need any more. It's not for us to say who's had enough and don't need any more. We got to maintain and do what he's given us to do. Are y'all following me? Yes. You don't stop being a witness because you think people already got it. You keep witnessing until he tells you not to. You witness until you see some fruit. It's just like sowing a seed. You don't stop. A gardener doesn't stop gardening because he says, well, I don't see nothing coming. You keep doing it until you see the fruit. Because until you see the fruit, you have no evidence that what you are doing is making an impact. So it's important that we understand that. Are you hearing me? Yes. Now, once again, it is important to us to understand which group are we going to be a part of. Yasharal, Yehuda, or the dogs. Out of covenant. You start thinking, well, Yehuda is out of covenant too. Absolutely. Yasharal is out of covenant too. Until we come back and repent, we ain't in covenant.
That's right.
Are y'all following? And then you have those that kind of walk on the outskirts. They walk that line because they don't know what they want to do. If they want to be committed into this walk, or they want to vacillate, over there in Christianity every now and then because they like the fellowship, quote unquote. But it's just like saying, I like the sweetness of poison. If you keep drinking, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill you. All right. Now, it's important that we understand that we cannot say that Yahuwah deals with the church and everybody else, because that's a blatant lie. Are you hearing me? Scripture to back that up. Satan detests the whole concept of Yahuwah's sovereignty. This is why this concept has been lost or disregarded by the Christian church. And the alternative idea of Arminianism, a form of humanism, has replaced predestination, Yahuwah's sovereignty. He's sovereign. He can do whatever he want to do. But if you notice, folk always want to tell him, but that ain't what it means. That can't be what it means. He wrote the book, We're Just Messengers. Arminianism says man also plays a role in his own salvation by applying his own free will. How many times have I heard this in Christianity and even in this walk? Well, it's my free will. I'm a free agent. If I choose to do it, I can. If I choose not to, I can. That's a lie. Because I've come to understand, if he ain't called you, ain't nothing anybody can do to bring you in it. Because you're rejecting it because he hasn't called you. And there's a possibility he may never call you. That's a scary place. Because you're saying, well, I don't want it. No, it's a possibility that you are not predestined. Somebody said, but all of Yasharal is. Yes, we are. But you can walk in that position as a dog. And if you are not going to listen and come, then you will be lost. It's tight, but it's right. Are y'all following me? Now, once again, this lie of Shaitan attempts to detract from the beauty of salvation, which all belongs to Yahuwah. Yashia 42:8. I am Yahuwah, that is my name, and my esteem I do not give to another, not even a millionth of it, nor my praise to idols. And Shaul confirms it in 1 Corinthians 1:29, so that no flesh should boast in his presence. So you don't have, and neither do I have, the ability to boast and say, I accepted it or I rejected it. Are y'all following me? That's important for us to understand. And this is where also coming in and fearing him, because people don't fear the Abba anymore. They don't fear Yahuwah. This is why they say and do whatever they feel like they're big and bad enough to do. That's a problem. And it has to be corrected. This clearly says that Yahuwah has firmly ensured that no man can and will ever claim his esteem unto himself when he stands before the throne by saying that he shared in any part in Yahuwah's salvation gift. If any man continued to his own salvation, this would contradict scriptures such as Yashia 64:6. And all of us have become as one unclean, and all our righteousness are as soiled rags. And we know what soiled rags mean. It means when a woman is on her menstrual cycle. That's the type of rags that are being talked about. And all of us fade like a leaf, and our crookedness, like the wind, have taken us away. Meaning all of us, each and every person deserves death. None of us deserve what we have, but it is because of his mercy and his covenant that he's made with our people that he's willing to give it unto us in spite of the position we were in before we came into truth. This is why we have to get to a place in our lives, regardless of what's going on, we won't complain, and we will continue to celebrate and worship him. And it is so. Also, in Yaakov 1:17, every great gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Abba of lights, with whom there is no change, nor shadow of turning. Meaning every great and perfect gift, perfect gift comes from the Abba, and salvation is a gift not by man's doing, but solely from the Abba above. Ephesians 2:8. For it is by mercy you have been saved through belief, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of Abba Yahuwah. By any means, I've done this on my own. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
That's important for us to understand. You cannot, we can't do that. It is a gift. And when a gift is given and received, there is a way that you deal or handle that gift. You're married, you don't want your spouse to give you something that's of value and then you just mishandle it. You just take it and toss it anywhere. If it's diamonds, diamond bracelet, ring, or whatever, your gift is, or somebody, they take you out to eat and or say, I'm gonna take you to this special place, and then you just bring everybody with you. Yeah, that's not for you to do. You inviting everybody with you. That's showing you have no regard for that which is going to be given or want to be given to you. So it's important that we understand the gift of salvation, that we dare not walk all over, treat it as though, without us walking in, still yet deserve it.
Right.
Are y'all following me? It's important that we understand we are deserving of nothing but death if we don't live right and do according to his instructions. The idea that Yahuwah has predestined a certain group by his great and perfect gift of salvation baffles most believers to Yom. This is because of the false Armenian teachings they have received from modern day lukewarm church pulpits. Now that we established that there is only a certain group predestined, we need to look at how the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal were scattered. It's important that we understand that. Why should we go back over that? Because there's times that we need to have a refresher course to remind us. Because sometimes as we continue to go through, and many of us can attest to it, and many of us may not want to attest to it. But there are times we can go through and we start feeling that, like, hey, I am, Yasharal. Who are you to tell me anything? Step to me and you gonna die. And we start forgetting who we are. And we even take that mentality and that attitude towards one another. And so it's important that we be reminded ever so often of our plight. How did we get scattered and why? And can it happen again? Can it happen again? If we're not living right and doing according to his instructions for our lives. So once again, it's important that we remember we are predestinated. This is our way. But we got to understand, in order to keep it, we got to live right. And then you can't be trying to give the gift that was given to you away. I had given this testimony a while back when we were living in the shelters in Atlanta. And it was a school and a nice setup, and it was turned into a shelter. And we were upstairs with the family. It was about 3 families up there. And it was our family and 2 other ladies that had been up there longer than all of us. And so we got up there, and during that time, I would buy, because when they would come home, my children, when they would come home from school, this is when they were in public school. And so I was pregnant with Joshua. And so it would be me and Joshua and Monty and Yasmin at the shelter, while the other 2 boys were at school. And Sean was there with us too. And it would be my older 2 boys, and they would be at school. And so I would buy little treats for them. At the time we didn't regard sugar like we do, now. They had these fantastic 4 suckers, and I promise you, the suckers were this big, maybe a little bigger than this. They were bigger than this. Put another coating, the great big gigantic what are they?
Not jawbreakers.
Jawbreakers. Yes, sir. They're big old jawbreakers about this big. They so big you have to get a hammer. Ain't no sucking that thing. You can't even put that thing in your mouth. But they were that big, and they were different layers, and you had to suck them, but it was big enough for you to suck it to where you had to get down to layers, and there was a nice sweet candy, and it wasn't gum. And one of the young boys had come, and I made the mistake to give him one. Now, mind you, this was my children's candy. It was their gifts for coming home from school and doing well. And then it was just something that we would like to do. Next thing I know, I answered the door. I get a knock on the door. And mind you, we're in the shelter. And I'm looking out and I'm like, it's a line about maybe six children at the door lined up. And I'm like, yeah. And he there with the sucker still sucking on it. Oh, they wanted one too. And I kind of looked at him with my eyebrow up and I'm like, okay, because I'm not a mean person. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give y'all a sucker, but I'm not going to give you the one that I gave him. Because those were only for my children. But I gave it to him thinking that because of something he had done, he had bought me something or did something there that we needed. And thinking that doing this, I was, doing a nice gesture and thinking that he would keep it to himself, knowing that maybe, this was just for me. She didn't broadcast it for everybody else. No, he wouldn't tell everybody. So what I did, I went into my little candy bucket because I kept one about that tall, and I had some other suckers that was just as wet, they were just as good, but not those. And I said, I'm gonna give y'all these. I said, because, and I'm gonna tell you why. I said, because I gave that to him being kind, but that sucker he shouldn't have gotten because those belong only to my children. That was my mistake. And from there, I learned that if something is specifically set aside and designated for you or for us, if you give it to one person, they're going to go and they're going to make sure that everybody else has a right to it. Somebody said, but that has nothing to do with this. Yes, it does. Because the moment you open the door for one person, that person says, well, if you opened it for me, you can surely open it for them. And it is not in our authority to do so. We are supposed to go to the prostitutes, the lost sheep of Yasharal, and we are to go to them and bring restoration to them. Now watch this. If along the way they come and say, I would like to know that way of life, I would like to be a part of that, then we can't forbid them. But to go and get them, no, it is not for us to do so. But it is first who? To the house of Yasharal first. It is to us first. And many times people have a hard time understanding that. They say, well, the Gentiles, we're supposed to go to them. You're absolutely right, but you have to understand who the Gentiles are. We that are not living right and according to the covenant are called Gentiles. But those of us that are living now, we now know we are a part of the 12 tribes. So we no longer call ourselves Gentiles. We no longer call ourselves dogs because we've been restored to our rightful place. And you can't be restored to something that you were never removed from. Right. So somebody will say, but how can they come and be a part? They can't because they have to believe, but that's the only thing they can do is follow us and believe. But as far as being in position and doing those things, they can't do so. And this is once again, some of the things that constantly happen because when many times other cultures come in, the first thing they do is watch this, is break off and start building their own congregations with their own people, and you're excluded. Somebody say, but we gave them right. No, nobody gave them that right. What you did was open the door for them to assume a right that they felt they already had a right to have, and they didn't. Are y'all following?
Yes.
So to keep that door from opening, you just keep it closed. If you get in that door, it won't be by me. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to know and live this way, you truly want to live according to this and you want to follow and not try to usurp, then I can't deny you that. But you coming in saying, well, I'm the people. Oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. Are y'all following?
Yes.
That's like somebody coming to you that you know is not a part of you and saying, well, because I knew your papa and your papa said that I'm part of the family, now I can come. Not so. Not so. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
It sounds harsh, but it is not. It is the right way. And we have to stick to what the writings tell us, because if we don't, once again, we will be opening the door that the Abba never gave us a right to do so. And we can't do that. So once again, understanding, this is just a portion of understanding, building up to us following in the path and knowing that we are the predestinated ones, and looking forward to more things that the Abba is going to do for us and through us. It's a refresher course, once again, to keep us fresh and to keep us encouraged so that when times come, rough times come, we will be able to fall in, not back, fall back in. I won't say the word back, but fall into, and not so much fall into, but stand in. I'll put it in that manner. Stand in knowing that we are the predestined, and no matter what the enemy tries to do, he cannot remove us from that place that the Abba has strategically put us in. The Abba won't remove you. You can't remove yourself, but watch this. You can lose those benefits. You can lose those benefits. And I tell you what, it is better that you've not known about those benefits than to know those benefits and reject them, because now you're going to be in trouble. So I encourage you, stick with us, continue to pray with us, continue to pray for us as we will. We're going to stop right here, and I pray that the Abba will give us a chance to come back, and we're going to talk about the scattering of the house of Yasharal into the nations. We're going to come back and talk about that next time. Once again, the Abba gives us a voice and allows us to do so, to talk about that, because we do need to be refreshed again on how we got there so that we don't repeat history again and again and again. And it is so. And it is so. Once again, I pray that you have enjoyed this, what I've given us you thus far. Keep your head up, keep your shoulders squared, and keep your heart and your feet in and upon the Torah, because you can't go wrong when you keep him at the center of your life. I am Mora of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom, a Hebraic Belief congregation located in South Carolina. I want you to remember, here at Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom, Hebraic Belief congregation, this is the place where the Torah does the body excellent. Until next time, may I'll be Yahuwah Baruch Atah and keep you in his shalom until we meet again. Also, I want you to remember that you've been touched by Champion TV, a place where the champions always reside. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.
This is Champion TV.
What's the matter? You didn't